This is WGAL News 8 at 10.
11 people shot and killed at a Pittsburgh synagogue, and tonight federal prosecutors have filed more than 24 charges against the suspect, including using a firearm to commit murder. Good evening, I'm Danielle Woods. That is our top story tonight at 10. Let's get right to WGAL News 8's Jere Gish, who begins our live team coverage from the Pittsburgh neighborhood where this all unfolded. Jerry.
Yeah, Danielle, this is certainly a shaken neighborhood and city. You mentioned more than 24 federal charges now against that alleged shooter at the Tree of Life synagogue here in the Squirrel Hill neighborhood. It is a shooting spree that has left this city shaken. A solemn vigil tonight at a Jewish community center in Pittsburgh as the city grieves after a deadly shooting spree. It started just after 10 a.m. at the Tree of Life synagogue in the Squirrel Hill neighborhood during a baby naming ceremony. 11 people were killed, 6 others injured, including 4 police officers.
And I look to my right and I see an officer wounded coming out, screaming and bleeding. His hand was shot right through. I could see a hole in his hand, and it was covered in blood. He had blood all over his face.
The alleged shooter has been identified as 46-year-old Robert Bowers. Police say he made anti-Semitic comments during the shootings, and anti-Semitic postings on social media are also being investigated.
Know that we will work day and night for justice for the victims of this crime.
A rifle and 3 handguns were recovered at the scene of the shooting spree, which has left a city shaken.
These incidents usually occur in other cities. Today, the nightmare has hit home here in the city of Pittsburgh.
And Bowers was apparently inside the synagogue for some 20 minutes before he encountered police. He was wounded and taken to a hospital. Also, for much of the day today, authorities have been searching his apartment. Right now, though, it appears he does not have any previous criminal record. Reporting live in Pittsburgh, I'm Jere Gish, WGAL News 8. Danielle, back to you.
Now, Jerry, one quick question. You've been in the Squirrel Hill neighborhood most of the day. You said the neighborhood was definitely shaken. What else can you tell us about the mood there tonight?
Yeah. I'll tell you, as you can imagine, it's a very somber mood. We've been around here now for quite a few hours, quite a bit of the day. And this is a very nice neighborhood here, mature trees, stately homes. And as we have seen some people out here in the neighborhood, whether it's they're walking their dogs or otherwise, they are just in shock that something like this has happened right here in their neighborhood. And in fact, one of the city officials said earlier, and you heard it there, it's been a nightmare for the city. Danielle?
All right, thank you. That is Jere Gish reporting live from Pittsburgh. Well, President Trump is speaking out about this mass shooting. Before boarding Air Force One for Indianapolis, the president called the shooting a shame and suggested it would have turned out differently if there were an armed guard at the temple.
If they had protection inside, the results would have been far better. This is a dispute that will always exist, I suspect, but if they had some kind of a protection inside the temple, maybe it could have been a very much different situation. They didn't, and he was able to do things that unfortunately he shouldn't have been able to do.
We'll have more reaction from the president later on in this newscast. Meanwhile, Governor Wolf is on the ground in Pittsburgh, and he released a statement following the mass shooting. He said in part, quote, "I thank all of the first responders who worked quickly to prevent further carnage, aid victims, and protect the surrounding neighborhood. I stand in sorrow and solidarity with all those, especially the Squirrel Hill and Pittsburgh Jewish communities, who are mourning and helping the community to recover." Well, Israel's Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu condemned today's attack, saying he's heartbroken and appalled.
The entire people of Israel grieve with the families of the dead. We stand together with the Jewish community of Pittsburgh. We stand together with the American people in the face of this horrendous anti-Semitic brutality. And we all pray for the speedy recovery of the wounded.
The shooting is also touching the hearts of people right here in the Susquehanna Valley. We go live to WGAL News 8's Tosin Fakile, who continues our team coverage in Lancaster.
The synagogue Sharei Shamayim gathered for a prayer service tonight for the victims of the mass shooting. It was a prayer to end Shabbat. Jewish families normally have this prayer at their homes, but Rabbi Jack Paskov said he felt the need to have the prayer here at the synagogue in light of that tragedy in Pittsburgh.
We walk in shadows, too often in the valley of the shadow of death. But when there's a shadow, you can also see the light.
Rabbi Jack Paskoff says they were having a service here at the same time the Pittsburgh synagogue was having theirs.
We all include the same prayers. We all read the same passages from the Torah. So there is this sense of a global Jewish community, which is in part why we feel the collective pain of this.
This is an extremely tragic event, and I can't say it enough times. It shouldn't be happening in this country.
People from different religious backgrounds also took part in this service.
More lasting than anything we'll say or do tonight will be the presence of the community, the knowledge that we are here together, that we're in this together.
An officer from Lancaster City Police was on site. Rabbi Paskoff says it's sad places of worship have to talk about security.
There are lessons to be learned, unfortunately, from today's events, and we will at some point learn those and improve our security as we go along.
And hopefully strengthen our country to take measures necessary to safeguard all of us.
Now we are told the synagogue has a plan in place with Lancaster City Police in the event a tragedy strikes. We're live in Lancaster. I'm Tosin Fakile, WGAL News 8.
Thank you, Tosin. Be sure to stay with WGAL News 8 tonight and throughout the weekend as we continue to follow this developing story. Right now, investigators in Lancaster County are working to learn more about the cause of a deadly crash outside of Warwick High School. It happened yesterday afternoon, just after 3, right when school let out on West Orange Street. 16-year-old Jack Nicholson of Lidditz was killed. 4 other people, including 2 students, were hurt. Police say a 63-year-old woman caused the crash after speeding away from officers who tried to pull her over for reckless driving. The woman's name has not yet been released. Warwick High School took to social media following the crash, saying it's shocked and saddened by the student's death. The school added, "Our hearts and prayers go out to this family and the other families involved." There will be counseling available for students, staff, and families on Monday starting at 8 a.m. at Bondfield Elementary, Warwick Middle School, and Warwick High School. New tonight, York police are now treating the suspicious death of a 65-year-old woman as a homicide. An autopsy today found that Edna Pinder died of multiple sharp force trauma. The victim's daughter found her body Thursday night inside her apartment on the 200 block of Kings Mill Road. Pinder's car is missing, a black 2012 Chrysler 200, and police are looking for her boyfriend, 52-year-old Anthony Starks of York. Also in York, police are investigating a stabbing. It happened just after 12:30 this afternoon on the first block of North Queen Street. No word on how that victim is doing tonight.
It was a windy and wet start to our weekend. We had strong wind gusts early this morning and widespread rain, but we've seen the rain taper off to just some light showers outside right now and some patchy drizzle, and it's nowhere near as windy. Winds have died down as well. The center of what is the nor'easter is working its way up towards New York City. Notice we have widespread rain back over eastern and central Ohio. That's not going to hit us. The area of low pressure from that storm is going to work its way down towards D.C. We may see a few breaks in the clouds, but I'm still not going to rule out an isolated shower through the night tonight. Temperatures fall to near 40 degrees for our lows. Tomorrow will be a little warmer, and we may see some peaks of sunshine, but there could also be a few passing showers through the day, and then chances for showers go up late tomorrow night. Temperatures will warm as we get closer to Halloween, but will we dry on out for those trick-or-treating festivities? We'll let you know coming up.
State of addiction coverage now. Today is National Drug Take-Back Day, and people all across the Susquehanna Valley took part, including in Leola, Lancaster County. East Lampeter Township Police hosted this drug take-back event at Royer Pharmacy. The goal of this day is to get potentially dangerous, expired, unused, or unwanted prescription drugs safely out of homes.
People just don't need medications sitting around their house, medications they have no further use for. It's temptation. It just can create too many problems.
East Lampeter Township Police Department has a permanent take-back box in its lobby. We also stopped by the Dauphin County Recycling Center today. It was one of many locations accepting unwanted drugs as part of National Drug Take-Back Day. According to a national survey on drug use and health, year after year, the majority of misused and abused prescription drugs are obtained from family and friends, including someone else's medication, being stolen from a home medicine cabinet. Officials say this day is also important as it moves Americans away from getting rid of their drugs by flushing them down the toilet, which can create potential safety and health hazards. More State of Addiction coverage. Temple University Harrisburg and the Pennsylvania Harm Reduction Coalition teamed up today to host an opioid response summit. It focused on how the community can work together to overcome the opioid epidemic, how to break the stigma surrounding addiction, and it taught those who attended how to use Narcan.
We want to reach the community, just the everyday human being, to talk about what's going on in our community. And the second goal was really to focus on solutions. Most people know that we've got a big problem with not just opioids, but drugs in general in the state of Pennsylvania. There's all these great solutions out there, and we wanted to highlight those solutions and how to have a conversation about how we replicate them.
The event also focused on treatment and that recovery is possible. Tonight's Powerball jackpot is an estimated $750 million, and the one-time cash payout isn't too shabby either. It's about $428 million. It's been a while since there was a winner. You have to go back to August, and there have been 21 drawings since. This is the fourth largest U.S. lottery jackpot ever, so if you bought your ticket and you're feeling lucky, be sure to watch News 8 at 11 for the drawing.
We can't let evil change our life and change our schedule.
Coming up on News 8 at 10, more on President Trump's reaction to the mass shooting at a Pittsburgh synagogue. But first, here are tonight's lottery numbers. The pick 2, 4-2, pick 3, 6-2-8, pick 4, 1-0-3-2, pick 5, 7-8-2-4-8. Tonight's wild ball is 3. The cash 5, 2, 18, 23, 38, 43. And the match 6, 16, 19, 34, 38, 40, 41.